Hello students, today let us do some problems on odd one out. Head over to the concept video to understand the concept of odd one out and solve the problems. Here you can see that there are 4 birds. What do we mean by picking the odd one out? You can see that these 3 birds are blue in color, whereas this bird is red in color. So this is odd one out. In this figure, you can see that there are a bunch of matchsticks and this particular matchstick is unburnt. So this is the odd one out. Here you can see that all the rockets are facing upward, whereas this rocket is red in color and at a different place. Here we can see that all the rockets are facing upwards, whereas this is facing downwards. So this is the odd one out. I hope you understood what odd one out is. Here's another example. You have 4 tables. Out of this has 1 leg, whereas all the other examples have 4 legs. We can call this odd one out. Now let us see what are all the things or observations needed to pick the odd one out. First, observe the size, shape, kind, pattern, number of times they appear. That is, what is the size, what is the shape, what is its pattern and number of times that they appear. In kind you have animals, plants, birds, and again inside birds you can have those that fly and that do not fly. Pattern. You might find a particular pattern in all the figures except one. For example, here all of the figures are black in color, but this is nearly orange. So it is odd. The pattern is color change. Now let us just see more problems to understand better and solve them. Here we can see that there are 3 animals, a zebra, a hyena and an elephant, but option B is a bird. So option B is odd one out. Here we can see that option A has 4 sides, option B has 0 sides, 3 and D has 3 and 5 sides respectively. In other words, circle does not have a side. So circle is the odd one out. In the next example, you have a square inside a square, a circle inside a circle, a triangle inside a triangle, but you have a square inside pentagon. If the inner parts are taken away, or if we had a pentagon inside the pentagon, then option B would have been the odd one out. But as you can see, the pattern is different. Pattern is having the same type of shape inside the shape, and by that rule option D is different. Here we can see that there are 4 numbers. Observe that 2 is 2 square, 16 is 4 square and 25 is 5 square, whereas 7 is a prime number. So option C is the odd one out. In this example, you can see one triangle in all of the options followed by a circle which is almost outside. That is, a small portion of the circle is inside the triangle, the rest is out. But in option C, the circle is inside the triangle, so option C is the odd one out. Now let us observe all the figures here. You have a circle which is partitioned into 2, and inside you have an unshaded circle and you have a rhombus with a diagonal line. Observe the arrow. We can see that by rotating option B in this direction, you get option D, and by rotating option D in this direction, you get option C. So B, C and D can be obtained or gotten by rotating each other. That is, they are same, but option A cannot be found however you rotate. So option A is the odd one out. Here you have A, E, K and I, where A, E and I are vowels, whereas K is a consonant. So K is the odd one out. Let us observe here that we have an arrow that is traveling or circling inside in shape of a rectangle. In option A, you can see that near the head of the arrow you have two more lines. In option B also, near the head of the arrow you have two more lines. Option C, near the head of the arrow you have two more lines. But in option D, near the head of the arrow you have only one line. So option D is the odd one out. Let us observe here that you have a triangle in all of the options, a circle inside the triangle in all of the options, and a symbol, an equal to symbol inside the circle. And you can clearly observe that in option D, the equal symbol is placed differently. It is not at the center of the circle. So option D is the odd one out. In this example, we can see that between every arrow, that is between every arrow there is a side. Between every arrow there is a side. And there are 8 sides in this particular shape. And option C also has 8 sides, option A has 8 sides and option D has 8 sides. Whereas option B has 7 sides. So option B is the odd one out. So what did we learn? You will be given 4 different figures which can be numbers, alphabet or shapes. You have to find the pattern between those to find one figure which is not following it or which is not the same. If you have 4 numbers given, find out if the relation is even and odd numbers or prime and composite numbers. If there are perfect square and perfect cube numbers, if they are divisible by the same number or multiple of a number. If you have letters, find out if they are vowels and consonant mix, if the letters have straight lines and curves, capital and small letters. If you have figures, then find out clockwise and anti-clockwise movement, geometrical patterns, that is patterns with sides, pattern with no side, we saw one such example, counting of components, direction and alignment, birds, animals and plants, etc. So students, head over to the practice section, solve as many problems as you can and ace your exam. See you.